Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining today. My name is Don Romanski. I'm Account Executive with TPO Go, and today we're going to talk about renovation loans. And no, Reno is not a four-letter word. It's actually we have a pretty unique process that we do, and we're going to share that with you today. So we're going to introduce this as Grow Reno with TPO Go in 2026, and this is how we do it. So I'm going to introduce our my colleagues and really the heart and soul of the renovation transactions. So we have Melissa Caskey, who's a uh, renovation specialist. We have Sam Kerrigan, who's also a renovation specialist. They do serve two different roles, so you'll hear that shortly. We have Dawn Pawlow, who is sales coordinator extraordinaire, and Erin Huffer, who's our account manager extraordinaire, and also Madison Tracy, who is our marketing manager. And so we're just going to kind of present to you how and why our renovation process is unique for us and extremely helpful for you. We're closing now in the range of 15 or so renovation loans per month, which include all the options. And we'll send out, upon request, what we call a renovation comparison chart, which is a great tool which will give you a side-by-side comparison of all the options. Um, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Melissa Caskey, who is our senior renovation specialist. And Melissa plays an important role in that she will be your primary contact to work through the structure of your renovation loan. And I'll let her speak to the details. But she is fantastic, has an abundance of experience doing renovation. So, Melissa, we're going to start with what are the current reno options that TPO Go currently offers?
We do offer a wide range of renovation loan products, and this is just to meet all of our diverse borrowers' needs. We have our government backed loans, which is your FHA loans, your standard, and your limited. We also do the VA and the USDA. And then if you're looking to go more conventional, we do have the Fannie Mae home style renovation and the Freddie Mac choice. And then,
Awesome.
like Don said, we do have the renovation comparison chart. So that will just give you that side by side reference to quickly identify the similarities and differences between them all.
Okay, and yeah, and that leads me to the next question. Are reno options structured similarly?
They are not. We take each one separate. So just depending, they vary by the loan type, the lender, our products, our the project, the scope that the borrower wants to do. So we just look at all of the scenarios that they want to do on this renovation project and just make sure it's the right fit.
Okay, great. Can you share what is a basic calculation? So if a broker will call me, I will be the first point of contact in most cases. And then, we'll go through some quick numbers. So what is a basic calculation the brokers can use to determine what we would call the acquisition cost?
When you're calculating the acquisition cost, you're going to just basically put down your purchase contract, the renovation cost, which is your bid of repairs, other acquisition costs, which can be like your consultant fees, your title fees, permit, origination. And then we also have the contingency. We hold back 10% for any unforeseen issues that may arise on the construction. So that is also. So just to give you some numbers, we'll do a quick example. If you have a purchase price of 300,000, and then you have your bid for 50,000, which is your rental cost. The other cost, which is the acquisition cost, could be 5,000, and then we are going to hold back that 10% of that 50,000. So that's going to be an extra 5,000 that we're going to hold back on the side. So then your total acquisition would be purchase price, rental cost, other cost, contingency, which is 360,000 is your total
Excellent.
acquisition.
Excellent. And so in this structure, tell us a little bit about what's called the maximum mortgage worksheet. And You could use any example if you want to use FHA or VA or home style or choice. Just explain a little bit how the MMW is kind of the most important document in your
It really
review.
is because it drives the beginning to the end of where you are on every step of your renovation process. So we know exactly where you're at. So as the bid changes, um, the rental cost went from 50,000 to 60. We're going to go back into that max mortgage worksheet, and that's going to adjust your bid to 60, and it's going to adjust your contingency to 6,000. So it's basically keep everybody in line of what your actual costs are of the renovation and what your max loan to value will be. So if you are doing the 96.5 on an FHA, it's going to tell us those calculations and what your total loan amount is, what your max is, and go from there. So just letting you know where you're at. So it's a very important piece all the way to the end.
Right. And so another question is, so when the appraisal is done, the appraisal is done is after improved value. Um, so if it comes in your example at 360, then the down payment is based on the 360. If it happens to come in lower, then the acquisition cost will adjust accordingly, correct?
Correct. The only thing that's different is during a refinance or a purchase, we either have to go off the purchase price and the rental cost. It's going to be whichever's lower. So if you've got the value and then the acquisition cost, it's going to be whatever is the lowest. And then that's why the maximum mortgage worksheet is important because it lays everything out for you and it'll do that calculation on which one is less, depending on if it's a purchase or a refinance.
Okay. And then at what stage does the broker engage with you? I know I typically explain to the broker that we really can't do anything until we have the detailed bid. Um, but then once we have a detailed bid, we can connect you with the broker to start to work on the structure of the loan.
Correct. Once your team sets everything up and the broker has submitted their loan, they're going to let me know what the broker's desired loan to value is, what the purchase contract or existing payoff is for their lien that they currently have. They're going to give us an estimate of the subject to comparison. So it's going to be whatever the house is now plus the renovations. And it's always best to check with your local realtors um, to guide for those comps in the area so that you have a good subject to value. And then the contractor's bid. We need to know the estimate if you do not have the bid. So it's okay as long as you kind of know, hey, they're spending $50,000, but you don't have an actual bid. We can at least get you a quote on that max mortgage worksheet with the loan to value, the purchase contract, the after improved value, and just your estimate of your bid.
Okay, fantastic. And it's fair to say that a best practice is the need to get a thorough and accurate bid.
Yes.
And once brokers get involved in the transaction, I mean, it is detailed, right? So,
Yes. And
we'll
we want
go
to make
through all
sure
that.
that everyone is on the same page so that your borrower, your contractor, your broker, and your lender all know exactly what the loan is, what the bid is for, and what scope of work is being done so that there's no confusion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Listen, Melissa, thank you. You are fantastic. And, the loans we've worked on, we're very fortunate to have you in the role that you're in. As I said, brokers are getting much more comfortable in submitting these loans. We're starting to see some more, additional business from the same brokers as they get comfortable. So thank you for all you do. And now we get to Sam Kerrigan, who is a renovation specialist. And Sam has the distinct honor of working with contractors and contractor approvals and contractor certifications, which is, a fairly detailed process. Um, but Sam does a fantastic job in connecting with the contractors, with the brokers and the contractors and getting this done. So, Sam, I'm going to just ask you, what is your primary role in assisting the brokers with obtaining contractor approval and certification documentation?
Yeah, thanks, Don. So my primary role in assisting our partners with contractor approval certification, kind of as you mentioned, is I'm responsible for the collection process of all the necessary renovation related documents and conditions that are going to be needed prior to closing and your approval. So we use a high functioning and advanced signature and document management platform. We use this for tracking and organizational purposes, which allows really for the smoothest and quickest process and also quickest completion rate. I work directly with the builder. All that we're going to need to get started is that initial credit package and a bid with a licensed and insured general contractor, and we'll really take care of the rest. So this way, the internal process is really no different than a regular loan, and all that the brokers need to focus on is those standard credit docs.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. And are the certification, is the process for certification similar amongst the different loans, whether it's FHA, 203K, or VA, or Fannie Mae Homestyle, or Freddie Choice? Are they all comparable?
Yeah, they're all pretty similar. The only difference really within the different contractor acceptance packages that we have is going to be some of those borrower related renovation documents. But outside of that, the package includes a contractor's resume, the contractor's acknowledgement, a homeowner contractor agreement, standard permits form, and then an initial draw if necessary on that bid. And then, as I mentioned, there are some bar related documents in there, varying whether, the loan is a 203K, conventional, or VA.
All right. Fantastic. And you find that most contractors, builders are responsive, uh, in getting you back the paperwork?
Yeah, so I think the way that we set it up, we get a pretty good response. We call right when the bid is received after Melissa or myself reviews it. And then, like Melissa said, it's really, really important that, you know, all of our borrowers and our contractors are really on the same page with that scope of work that's being done. And that kind of eliminates any of the hiccups or delays kind of in between. I think that the best practice and kind of best thing that we do is staying on top of that to make sure that we really nail it down at the beginning of the process.
All right, fantastic. It sounds like the Carpenter's Creed, measure twice, cut once. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Sam. Appreciate
Yeah,
all you
absolutely.
do. It's an important part of this process. So Dawn Pawlow is our sales coordinator, and yes, she is extraordinaire. So Dawn, really, some of you may know in just non-renovation business, really is the front door of any submission process. So, Dawn handles intake, gets your loan into disclosure. And disclosure on a reno is a little bit different because, we're using an acquisition cost versus just a standard, straight up purchase contract or refinance amount. So I'm going to let Dawn just, again, share her role and, what she does in terms of getting having the loan come in, getting it ready for disclosures, specifically on a renovation loan.
Sure. Hi, guys. Thanks, Don. For any of you who have worked with me before, you kind of know and understand my role. Like Don said, I'm going to help with the registration, the setup, and the submission for disclosure. On any other file, it's simple. I'm going to be honest, on a renovation file, it's simple too. There are a couple extra steps, but those extra steps really make it so that that file is going into underwriting with more accurate numbers. It streamlines the process. So on a renovation file, I'll help you guys just like I would on any other file, register, set up, and submit. Pricing is a little bit different on it, but you and I can work together on getting the pricing and floating or locking your rate if you so choose to lock. After that, I'm going to ask you for a couple pieces of information so that I can loop in my friend Melissa, who you just heard from. So those pieces of information are going to be the purchase price if it's a purchase, if it's a renovation, it is a renovation. If it's a refi, I'm going to want the payoff amount of the property that we're refinancing. We're also going to want the reno costs. If you don't have a bid yet, again, we would really love for you to have a bid up front, but if you don't, we can still make the MMW work because Melissa's a pro and I am not in that field. So we need the purchase price or refi amount, renovation costs, the after improved value. So Melissa had mentioned it's best practice to get comps. If you don't get comps, it is still doable, but just understand that values have come back a little bit less than some have suggested, which can cause issues down the line. So keep that in mind when you give that to us. And then last but not least, we just need your intended LTV. So I always tell people if you're setting up a 203K, set it up like a 203K, submit it over to us. We'll get everything for the reno piece set up on our side. If you want to be at 96.5, that's the intended LTV we're looking for. A VA, if you want to be at 100 LTV, that's what we're looking for. So, and then we'll get it submitted. And after that, it goes to Melissa. She'll set it up for you. Our opening team will send out a preview LE that you will need to approve via email. And then we'll get those disclosures out to your borrowers.
All right, awesome, fantastic. And just touch on one point. All renovation loans are AUS approve eligible or accept, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Right. Yeah, there's no manual options for any of the renovation loans. So thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So now, account manager extraordinaire, Erin Huffer. Many of you know Erin if you're submitting other loans other than renovation. She is the account manager who works essentially on every file. And talk about a game of whack-a-mole. I don't know how she does it, but she does a fantastic job. So, Erin, once the loan is submitted to underwriting and the original credit underwrite occurs, so the underwriter knows it's a reno loan. Our underwriters are renovation experienced, but Erin's primary role will be to essentially get the loan cleared to close. So I'm going to let Erin explain, what she does. Many of you are familiar, but let her go through it. And here you go, Erin.
Sure, thanks, Don. So my involvement on a reno loan is very similar to on a standard loan. Just some key differences are I will, of course, work closely with Melissa and Sam. They handle all of the reno related documents. And if we need to work on structuring like cash to close, anything like that, I'll help out with. And then another big reno related item that we see that's different to standard loans is I always recommend to have the reno team order the appraisal for you. That's definitely like number one recommendation. Let the reno team handle that for you. They'll handle the reno related conditions and everything else is business as usual from conditional approval through the clear to close process.
All right, awesome, awesome. And can you touch just because ICD always comes up like as we get through the process, sometimes the brokers, all parties will become a little anxious to just start that clock and get that done. When can the ICD be requested on a renovation loan?
Sure. So renovation loan, same as a standard loan. We have those 5 items that we need to request the CD. We need the appraisal, the homeowner's insurance. We can use a quote if they don't have the policy yet. So appraisal, homeowner's insurance, title report, preliminary CD from title, and the loan must be locked. Once we have all of those things, I will request the CD and it typically goes out same day or next day.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for all you do. And so once Erin, once the loan becomes cleared, Erin will issue the clear to close, and then we will coordinate you with our closing team once a closing date has been determined and confirmed with title, or the attorney, and then it will move over into closing, and they do a fantastic job in getting the loan closed. I'm going to ask Madison to touch base because I think this is a pretty important part. I mean, they're all important, and you can see we're all working together. But what we do that's a little, um, can be helpful. And again, the idea here is to help you grow renovation, not be, um, not to avoid it because it seems complicated. We're doing most all of the work. Certainly Melissa and Sam and Dawn and Erin are awesome. They're all awesome support team. And so what Madison does, Madison's our marketing manager, and she can assist you with personalized marketing pieces so that you could go to your business partners and promote and do some seminars. Dawn was actually involved in a presentation, a renovation presentation in October that I believe had over 20 business partners. Some were attorneys, some were builders, some were realtors, and it went very, very well. And so we can provide some marketing material to help you in your efforts to uh, present this to your business partners. So I'm going to have Madison just touch base a little bit on how she can assist with the personalized marketing pieces, some that are currently available, and then what would be the process for us to support you in that.
So in our resource library, we have lots of not only renovation, lots of different flyers. To every rental product I have a flyer on. I can also build one for you, just the drop of a hat. All you have to do is have your AE reach out to me, and I can personalize it for you. I can put whatever you want on there, and I can get it to you within the hour. So, but our resource library has lots of pre-made ones for you already, but I can make anything. So,
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I've worked with you on several of these, and
mhm.
the brokers are very grateful and thankful, and it does really make a big difference. So I'm just going to ask the brokers, like, if you want a marketing piece, just contact me, and I will coordinate with Madison, and we'll loop her in, and then get the specifics. Whether it's you could do a headshot, right, Madison?
Yep, absolutely. Hmm.
Yeah, and so really can customize it to the
Any way.
extent that you would
Mhm.
like it. So, all right, that is fantastic. So, trying to keep in my, yep, we're going to make this 5 minutes or less, not even close. But we felt that, we just want to give a quick overview. Again, we're growing this business. Centers are pulling out of renovation. We are actually accelerating into it. So, for those that have done renovation with us, thank you. Uh, one more thing I'll mention, which is actually pretty important. So, we didn't really get into details with closing because there's a whole team that does closing. But I want to mention the post-closing process. We manage that internally, and Sam is integral in communicating that to the broker during the certification process, is where you can get uh, some money, an initial distribution at closing. But then as the work begins and the inspections are needed to uh, start to distribute out the uh, construction money, out of escrow. There's a team that does that, and they're fantastic. So we don't outsource it. Everything is in-house with TPO Go, and that's really an important part. So as as you desire, give me a call. I'd love to go through, details with you, share guidelines. Once you get a feel for Melissa and just her uh, experience and expertise in structuring these loans is fantastic. And then Sam working diligently with the contractor approvals. Dawn and Erin, as always, on every loan, but also specifically on the rental loans, do a fantastic job. And then Madison as well for support with marketing and promotion. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you want us to do a session, we do them online. We could do them in person, well, depending on where they are. If we have any brokers in Hawaii, we'll be there tomorrow. No problem.
I'm in.
But yeah, if you'd like us to do a session, just for your business partners, we'd love to be able to do that. So the idea here is, we are available. We are, it's a great team. We're very focused on growing this business. So we look forward to helping you grow the Reno business in 2026. Thank you for your time and thank you for your continued business. We appreciate you.